Okay, and I will try not to be rubbish. Well, thank you for agreeing to do this. Yeah, I mean, I know you pretty well, and I know you well enough to know that you've had not a very easy life at times. So would you be willing to just maybe give a bit of background on some of the struggles that you've had?
So I've got multiple sclerosis, which I don't know if anyone understands, but I think the best way of describing MS, if you imagine our bodies full of cables, that looks like what you're holding there, the microphone, and my body is eating that black stuff away from the microphone, so the wires get frayed, and then the signal doesn't go around your body. But what's clever about my body is the cable goes from this atom to that atom, it gets frayed, so it lends to send it a different path.
And how has it been in the past dealing with that illness?
So I was diagnosed in 2010, and stupidly when I was diagnosed thought, oh, it's just like a cold, I'll be fine, and carried on working, carried on having children, carried on doing all the normal stuff, and it was only little things that would happen, like I'd put my feet in the bath and instead of it feeling hot, it would feel cold. I'd look at things and my eyes weren't quite right. A year into it, triggered by the stress of my dad having cancer, I started to relapse at home. And then Dad phoned me up to say that unfortunately his cancer turned terminal. Went to bed, didn't sleep very well. That morning woke up, Ryan was looking after me, who was my partner, and he was running me a bath, and I collapsed and hit my head, so the hospital were really worried, took me into hospital because I'd hit my head, and I thought I was getting better. And I don't think I really knew. I think your body maybe protects yourself a bit, that I didn't know exactly what was going on. Like I couldn't say the moment when I realised I couldn't move my hands, I couldn't talk properly, I couldn't see properly, and it wasn't until that morning, and I remember I was in a room on my own, so I was in a side room, and there was a clock in front of me, which I think is so badly placed, because why you want to know what time it is in a hospital and how long you've been there, I don't know. And it moved constantly, and I couldn't focus on it, and I noticed I couldn't see the television, and then I noticed my hands weren't moving, and it became very clear that I was very, very, very poorly.
So that does actually sound like you've kind of hit rock bottom at that point. How did you process being in that place?
All I would say is that your brain kind of goes quiet, so everything became simpler. So instead of thinking about the billion and one things that I thought about, like getting children to school, doing this, making sure that I'd made the beds, all those sort of jobs, disappear. So my brain went quieter, so then suddenly it was just me I was thinking about. I started to have moments where I would lie in the bed and I literally was thinking, and I can really remember the thought, am I really here? Or do you think I'm just a brain in a pot? That's how I imagine myself on a bed. Because you can't feel your body, because there's no essence of yourself apart from in here, you totally lost it. And a lady she had a red Bible and she came to speak to you, and I remember her talking to me, and she was the first person, because she didn't know me before, so I was just the Ellen that she was seeing then, and treated me normal, didn't treat me as someone that was getting poorly or things like that. I don't know, it just gave me a bit of a focus, and I think that's why my brain started to then think about other things, like that someone was looking after me, that I was okay, and that I wasn't on my own. And I think that's how I got through it, is I just didn't feel on my own ever. I never ever felt on my own. And my main focus was, because I was so driven to be mum, that I was going to be mum again. So I had to walk again, I had to be able to move my hands again, I had to be able to sit up, I had to be able to chase a toddler, I had to be able to smell a dirty nappy, all those things. And so that was my focus, that it was never not getting better.
So you had a lot of encouragement from others at times when it was hard. If you were going to say something to somebody who was going through something that was really hard in their lives right now, what would your advice be? How do you get through tough times?
What we're being shown, like what we can see, isn't always what actually is. So even if it feels really rubbish and everything feels like it's being really rubbish, it isn't, and at the end it will be okay.
if things aren't always as they seem, what do you hang on to ground yourself then?
It's really strange. Like right now, this precise second, I can feel the sun on my skin.
Mm-hmm.
I remember specifically my dad taking me out in my wheelchair in the hospital and getting me just to sit and feel the sun and look at the sun. And he was like, feel it. And he said, even when I'm not here, you're going to feel it. And so every time I feel it, I'm brought back to that memory. And I think we all have that. Looking at the small details, the things like that, even when I'm looking at your daisies, that there's actually little tiny bugs that are eating and things like that. That's what we have to notice, but we have to really, really look at it, not the big things when the massive bumblebee comes to feed on it.
Thank you so much. That was brilliant.